We have Wendy sectioned. Everything is clipped up. I'm using my metal duckbill clips to really manage all of those baby hairs and flyaways. And then I'm using that larger croc style clip to hold that larger section of hair on top of the head. You want to make sure that there are no saggy sections, that everything is nice and high and tight on top of the head, because you need a clear line of sight to that parting. The parting is your guide, and your sections are the foundation to your application. The tape row is going to go very, very quickly if you have clean partings. If you don't, you're going to have to resection and manage all of that as you're working, and it's going to be a mess. So this is one of the most critical parts into having a clean, beautiful row. What works really well is starting on your non-dominant side. That's because holding the weft with your non-dominant hand and your comb with your dominant hand is going to be easier. The most important thing is to find where you have the most control and dexterity over the weft and your tools, because the more control you have, the cleaner your applications are going to be. You're going to use the tail of this comb to really smooth that biological hair as you're rolling the tape row on. So you're going to be doing this motion throughout the entire application, and pay close attention because it's going to be very fast. So I want to align this weft from side to side and get the most coverage. So I'm going to be starting at the center point and then rolling the weft to the left side, and then rolling the weft to the right side. Now what I'm looking for is just to make sure that I'm not too far towards her hairline. I really want to make sure that I'm not going into those vellus or baby hairs, that I'm really observing that 2-finger rule from the hairline, or you can use your comb as the guide. Another great way of checking to see if this application is not only going to be beautiful but also safe is to pull the biological hair back. If it covers that row, you are good to go. This side does. We'll go to the other side and check for the same thing. Holding that in place, checking for the 2-finger rule, and then also pulling this hair back to see if we have that coverage. So she is an ideal candidate for a full open weft. We don't need to cut or customize this row at all. The first thing you're going to do is work in really small 1-inch increments, meaning you don't want to take this whole white tape backing and tear it off and throw it down. You only want to peel it back in those 1-inch increments, tacking it down as you work across the entire row. Peel back that tape backing. I've also heat activated this with my flat iron at 350 degrees just to heat activate before applying. I'm using my finger to smooth that biological hair before going in at a 45-degree angle, and then really smoothing all of that biological hair down as I go down from the parting the height of the panel. I'm pressing that down and really making sure that I'm tacking it down. And notice how I can let go with my hands. I'm going to place the tail of my comb there so I can flip this back and expose the interior of that weft. I'm going to get a grip of that weft, and then also gripping the white tape backing. So I'm pulling the white tape backing between my pointer and my thumb, and then just controlling the weft with my other fingers. I'm going to use the tail of my comb to slide this as I roll that on. I'm tacking this down as I peel that tape back. I'm smoothing and rolling that on, making sure that you are the height of the panel down from the parting. Tacking that down, smoothing the biological hair, smoothing the hair, peeling it back, smoothing the hair. If you were to just press this weft and then press it on, notice how you can create buckling or bubbling of the biological hair. That's why you're smoothing with your comb, slightly bringing it up and then back down the height of the panel down from the parting. So you're really smoothing everything. It's nice and aligned. It's nice even tension and weight distribution as you work around the head. And notice how I'm just pulling that tape backing back as I'm working. It becomes really fluid and easy. Smoothing it, smoothing it. And if you see any baby hairs, just tack that down. I need to resection this because it's dropped down a little bit. So just take the time, clean up your section, resist the urge to rip off that whole white tape backing. It makes it really difficult if you peel that whole thing off at once. Then you have tape sticking to everything. So make it easy for yourself and just peel back in the section that you're working in. Once you've approached the front, then you can take that off. Make sure that you don't touch the tape with your finger. And pressing it down. So you want to go through the entire row, really giving a nice scalp massage, making sure that you're picking up enough hair to support the row. Now, if someone has very fine, low density, you don't want to press too firmly because it's going to connect to their actual scalp. But if anyone has medium to high density, you definitely want to press more firmly the higher their density is. Now that we've applied this row, we want to check for the distance from the parting. If it's a little close, make any adjustments. If it's too far down, no big deal. You can take it off and make those adjustments as needed. Now, in order to lift up this entire row, you're not going to just take it and lift it like this. You want to make sure that you go in with your finger right along the base of that weft, running it across the entire row, all the way around the head. Once you have that in your hand, you will use your comb to help flip and cascade that up, gently rolling that weft, making sure that you don't lift it up, off, or pull up too much because you can actually take off the entire row. Remember, it's just tacked down. It's not really adhered to anything. Relax that tension just a little bit to allow that biological hair to fall in one fluid motion, going in with your tail comb, running it along the base of the tape row, continuing around the entire head, making sure not to take any of the hair out that is attached to the tape itself, only the hair that is relaxing or falling out of the row. Then I'm going to simply replace those metal duckbill clips, clipping that hair up on top of the head. Now that I've clipped up the top row, I'm going to apply that bottom row. So same thing, I'm working on my left side or your non-dominant side and still working in those 1-inch increments. You're just going to be flipping the ends over the top of the head, not in her face, off to the side, but just make sure you don't flip them over and have them stick to the actual exposed tape here. So try to control the ends of your weft by draping it over your arm or keeping them out of your way. So peeling back, so you're gonna keep that tape side towards you now versus away from you. So tape side is towards you, peeling off a 1-inch section, holding that back, lifting it up and over the top of the head. This is just to get started. Using your finger to align from top to bottom and side to side. Once you've tacked that down, you can flip this section back. I'm standing behind this section so I can see as I roll the tape row onto the top weft. I'm just peeling back, again, using my thumb to peel. I'm smoothing these hairs up and just rolling that weft on. You want to make sure that you're aligning from top to bottom as you're rolling that weft on, peeling back the tape backing, and placing the weft exactly where you want it to go. If you let it fall, it will be misaligned. You have to control it and put it where you need it to be. Roll and control. Peeling that white tape backing as you go. Lightly pressing that on. You do not want to secure this because you want to remove all of the metal duckbill clips. Be sure to gently cascade that weft as you're dropping everything down so it rolls really smooth as you're dropping that entire section down. Remember, you have not locked everything in place yet. You want to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned. If you see the shiny backing of a tape panel or a tape row, that means it's misaligned at some point. So make those adjustments. If you need to take the whole thing out, it's not a big deal. Mistakes are inevitable. It's about how you correct those mistakes that's important. Okay, so I'm checking to make sure that the ends are aligned from side to side, also top to bottom, that it's the correct distance down from the parting. Remember, it's 1/4 of an inch down from the parting. If everything looks good, how does it feel? Does it feel good? Yeah. Go ahead and lock it down. That's when they get a really nice scalp massage. So just running your fingers, pressing across that entire row, really making sure that you are securing that airtight bond between those and that the panels are able to adhere to themselves. You're really locking that in place. All right, you can already see this is establishing a really nice perimeter. You can't even tell where her hair is, but I'm going to shake it out for biological hair. Remember, her biological hair is here. And you can see how beautifully this is blending already. And that is just one row. So technically, the look that she has in right now is full volume. So that's not the look we're going for though. So we are going to move up to really maximize all of that fullness and coverage and volume to transition from a full volume into a full length. Even though this is a full volume and we're moving to a full length, I just want to show you what a full volume can actually do. You can see that it's filled in her perimeter. It's really enhanced all of that volume. It's added a pop of color right around her face. I mean, this looks good as it is, but we're going to keep going and jump from a full volume into a full length. Remember, we already accounted for the split in her hair and we did a custom cut that we're going to apply in zone 1. So I'm dropping everything down, letting it fall, combing everything out, and then we're going to section for our next row in zone 1. You can use your fingers and feel for that actual row. So where this is at in her head, it is in zone 2, and it's right here. I'm going to tuck this behind the ear so you can see the hairline. I'm bringing this down, and the row is sitting here. So we're going to move up right in zone 1, perhaps maybe just a little bit into that free zone so that she can get that coverage right around her face and achieve that blend. We're also accounting for that split. We're doing 1/3 on this side and about 2/3 on this side. I've sectioned in zone 1 and I've done a slight 10-degree angle just to really maximize all of that coverage. So I'm going to place that right below my section just to double check before I begin my application, making sure that I'm not getting into that split and that I'm not too far forward. So I'm still observing that 2-finger rule or using my comb as that guide, and then checking to really make sure that she can pull her hair back and nothing's going to show. So I'm not only making sure that it's beautiful, but also safe because it's not being applied on those vellus or baby hairs. Now, I've marked exactly where I'm going to begin my application. And again, I'm going to start from my non-dominant side, working from the left to the right. Do whatever is more comfortable for you, wherever you have the most control and dexterity. I've marked that. It's right at the end of my metal duckbill clip. So I'm just going to adjust that so it tells me exactly where I need to begin. I'm going to take off that white tape backing, working in those small 1-inch increments. Using my finger to smooth the biological hair as I go in with the panel, dragging it down, the height of the panel down from the parting, making sure all of those hairs are at natural fall for nice even tension and weight distribution. And I'm peeling this back, holding the weft and the white tape backing in one hand and using the tail of my comb to smooth the biological hair as I roll that weft on. Peeling it back and smoothing. And I'm pressing down to make sure that I'm picking up enough hair to support the panel. Remember, the higher the density, the more the pressure. If they have very thin, fine hair, just very light pressure will pick up enough hair. If you press too firmly on someone that has very low density, it will attach to their scalp and can actually lift up and cause discomfort. So just be mindful, always use the correct pressure to match their density. Running my finger along the base of the row, lifting it up. Remember to use your comb to help flip that or cascade that weft. relaxing that section slightly so you can go right in with your comb in one fluid motion and clean up that section. Using your metal duckbill clip to control all of that hair. Do any adjustments as needed. Taking your next piece, removing that white tape backing, lifting it over the head, aligning from top to bottom and side to side, tacking it down when you find that alignment. And applying that row where you need it to go. Remember, you have to control exactly where you place that weft. Don't let it fall where it wants to go. Peel back the end. Check for alignment from top to bottom, side to side. If it looks good and it feels good, you don't feel any stickiness, go ahead and press it down. You can see that we have a nice, beautiful blanket of coverage. We've accounted for the split in the back. So I'm gonna have her turn just to show where that is. You can't even see it. So keep turning. Now we're gonna continue to apply on the other side. And remember, on this side, we're doing those 2/3. So applying it in the same area from the free zone all the way around in zone 1, stopping right at the split in the back. I've sectioned on the other side. Notice how, again, I'm using that slight 10-degree angle to allow for the hair to fall towards the face, but not too much of an angle where it can cause damage. So be very mindful as you're getting into your sectioning. Again, I'm starting on my non-dominant side. That means my left hand closest towards the face, rolling that row and stopping right before we get to that split. Smoothing the biological hair down, going in at a 45, dragging it down the height of the panel down from the parting, and pressing down. Counterbalance that pressure as you press that down, holding it back. Feeling that section back, using your tail comb to roll that on, making sure that you stay aligned from the height of the panel down from the parting. Run your finger right along the base of the tape row, separating the tape row from the biological hair, using your tail comb to gently roll that weft up. Once you have everything up, relax that section in one fluid motion, go in with your tail comb and remove any hair that does not belong in that panel. You don't need to make any decisions. The hair is already dropping. All you need to do is section that out. Peel back that white tape backing, go up and over the top of the head, aligning the panel from top to bottom, using your finger as a guide, and tacking that down. Keeping the ends of the weft over the top of the head as you roll that white tape backing and align the tape row. Before I lock anything down, I'm just going to remove the metal duckbill clips and then be sure to gently fold or cascade that weft. Checking for alignment, distance from the parting. Looks really good, it's comfortable. So if it looks good, it feels good, and lock that down. And remember to counterbalance that pressure as you press against that row, locking in. We've dropped everything down. Now I'm just really going back in, pressing down on that row, making sure that everything feels good. The spacing is really nice. More importantly, as you're doing this, you're also feeling for any strays or baby hairs that were trapped. And this is your opportunity to really teach or remind how to cleanse at home. So same thing with a sewn method row. You have that space between the rows or any original tape-in application. Cleansing is the exact same. So you really want to get in there and shampoo in between those rows. Oh my gosh, look at your color. Wow. Okay. So we have definitely hit the mark. She's able to achieve a full length transformation in under 20 minutes. The best part is she has that bright, beautiful, chemical-free pop of color and all of this beautiful coverage right around her face. You don't see any line of demarcation in her hair. We did a totally custom application, meaning we did one full row in zone 2, and then we accounted for the split in the back, which you can't see that row in zone 1 because we've customized it to account for that split. So it's not visible at all. We have 1/3 stopping at the split in the back and then the other 2/3 stopping at the split. So it's a perfect custom application for Wendy. She's able to achieve full length, chemical-free color, tons of volume. And look, you don't even need to cut and blend. It already looks so beautiful because of this blanket of coverage. Quick, easy, beautiful, and more importantly, effective.